Hi, this is Eva for Once Upon a Timeline. Welcome to Midnight Mandela. Better check my sound. Yes, it looks like it's fine. All right, how is everybody doing this week? It's been an interesting week. I did not spend a lot of time hunting for Mandelas, but there seems to be a fair number of them. Jackie found some. Jackie, you found a lot of like ones from a couple years ago for me that I had kind of forgotten about, so that was interesting to just see them kind of resurrected again. But yeah, some of them have updated themselves. That's interesting about your name. So Jackie was saying on the comments that the meaning of her name changed, and then I commented that since the last time I looked, there's a new meaning that's the primary meaning, and then the old meaning is now the secondary likely meaning. But even before that, like many years ago, I had looked and it was a whole third meaning. So it just keeps switching and switching and switching. And yes, the Sherbert timeline where you said Sherbert, that was my original timeline for many, many years. But it is actually one of those Mandelas that happened before I knew anything about the Mandela. Maybe in the 90s, it changed to Sherbet. Sherbet. So let's see. There was another one. Tin Man has eyebrows. You know, I don't like looking these up as much because, like, I'm always afraid I'm going to get all the different versions mixed up. Let's see. Original. I don't know what to say. I mean, I think he did have eyebrows before, but it wasn't those, like, painted on black things. Those look weird. This one keeps changing anyway. He's got so many versions. Like, he didn't used to have a circle thing for a nose. Like, there wasn't an open circle. Let's see. These are not. Probably should go to Google or something here. I feel like that the hole in the nose has gotten a lot bigger. The hat looks, now that's new for a lot of people, new from a few years ago, but I think it might have changed. I don't know. Wait. So he's got a, I don't think he had a bow tie before. God. I am almost positive there was no bow tie. Now, granted, it's a little harder to see here, but still, there's crap going on. I don't think the chin strap was that high. Was there even a chin strap? I don't really remember there being a chin strap, frankly. Not like that. That's just sort of, I don't know. I don't remember there being a chin strap. Not like that. Maybe there was some kind of low thing that went like this, but I don't remember there being a chin strap. So I'm saying that yeah. Okay, so there's changes. Okay, I don't remember those weird dark eyebrows. There was something, but it wasn't that. What the hell? He wasn't like all rusty that bad, was he? I don't think so. Like, okay, how I remember them saying is, oh, I'm all rusty, I'm rusty. But he did not look rusty. He would talk about being rusty, and then they do this, and then in my mind I'm thinking maybe inside or whatever. But I don't remember him being rusty at all, frankly. He talked about being rusty, but he wasn't rusty. Different versions here. The hell? Okay, so I would say significant changes for me. There was no freaking chin strap. That's bizarre. What are these like holes in the edges of his head too? What is this? Okay. I don't even remember what there was there, but there wasn't like these holes. These bumpy things. Those were not there. Dang, what was there? I think there was more like stuff just coming up from the neck region before. Look at that with those. It's like, what is that? Is it fur? Not, it's not furring strip. There's a word for the, like, those really cheapy straps of metal with the holes. They're like the cheapest thing on earth. Forgot the name of those things. But that, I think, is what that is. And that was not on the side of his head before. I can see why they use it, because, like I said, they're like the cheapest metal crap on earth, but... Oh, what the heck? That's him? I don't remember that... I don't remember he looking like he had patches on his legs. I don't remember him looking like he wore diapers. I don't know. This whole thing is just... This part looks weird. He looks like he's got chaps on now. I don't know. This is just... What's going on with his shoes? He's got claw shoes? Let's see. I don't know what's going on with those shoes. I thought he had normal looking shoe feet things. I don't know what's happening over here. Maybe he dropped something. Okay, well, there you go. Now you talk about the chin strap, because I definitely kind of thought it looked a little gimpy, but I almost said it, and then I'm like, no, I won't say it. I saw those. Are you talking about those YouTube videos that make you hallucinate? Like you look at a pattern swirling a certain way, and then if you suddenly look at something else, then everything kind of goes like that for a few minutes. I've seen those like 6 months ago or something. I'm really suspicious. I don't remember anything like that. There's so many weird things now on that warps your brain, so I don't remember any of that existing. Yeah, I know what you mean about the timeline and the trashy look of things. Oh, yeah, Wizard of Oz, her dress has buttons. Let's see. Dang. You know, I have to say I wasn't as much into the Dorothy thing, but there's been a lot of Mandelas on her dress, frankly, and her blue socks, which didn't used to be blue. She looks like she's got an overalls dress on, and I don't remember having... I don't know what it is about this timeline in the overalls. I don't think she had that, like, plaid... What is that pattern? That gingham? What is that, like, little cross hatches pattern? There's a word for that. He looks all scarfy and gross at this timeline. What are these leaves on him or something? It's hard to get a good look at what she's wearing now. I don't think... Oh, there's 2 buttons here and there. Yeah. I think the whole dress has changed, frankly. Even her face looks different to me, so I don't know what to say. You know, like, nobody's in here today. I just realized that. Hardly. There's only, like, what? There's only, like, a couple people in here. Austin showed up. Jackie. Renee. Vivian is in. Lord Frybread. Okay, some of you guys are coming in, but still. Colorado Skywatch is in. Scarecrow having a gun. Yeah, that was an older one. Chucky got the buttons, and he also got the overalls. Alright, I'm changing it to live chat. I remembered it all by myself. It's a miracle. Renee is in. Yeah, I wonder. See, now I probably missed all yours because live chat likes you better. I don't know why they even have that other one. It's just a big pain. Okay, so this thing, Fly Geyser. So that thing showed up for me at the beginning of when I knew about the Mandela. So maybe about 7 or 8 years ago, there was this thing called Fly Geyser. And it was in Utah, and I was like shocked. So that was right around the time when I was starting to notice these colorful ponds, but it wasn't that colorful. And also, they said Fly Geyser was only around a couple years at that time. So everybody's like, well, that's not a Mandela because it's new. And so I'm like, well, yeah, but it's still fishy. And so I did kind of keep an eye on it. Now it is like so much brighter on some of these, but it looks like it varies because in some of them it's almost brown, and then some it's like neon red, but this is still kind of brown out here, so I don't think they've over saturated it. So it appears to me now what we've got is that this coloration constantly changes, and maybe during certain seasons it's got this ridiculously stupid looking red. It's so fake looking, but a lot of the official photos, as best I can tell, it does get that color. There's a whole bunch of them that have that color. The other thing is that this goes way back in time now. So when it first showed up, I don't think it was even this bright because it didn't have all this stuff down here. It just had this. And it didn't have these, I don't know what are these, terraces. This timeline loves its terraces. So I believe those are these terraces here. So this thing keeps expanding. So some of these I'm like, is this AI? But then when I look from other angles, it's still in there. And there's certain ones where this looks kind of blah colored, but the pools look really bright. So I think that these are all legit. Like, see, it looks really bland through here, but this is really bright. So by having it set up this way now, people who only saw the bland ones in their mind, they'll go, oh, well, I just happen to not see the bright ones. Like, and I know that's not the case for me because I spent so much time looking through images of it back then that there is no way I missed any that looked ridiculously bright like this. And although they keep saying it's ever growing and stuff, all the images I can find, it looks pretty big. Okay, this one's interesting. I'm going to just go over the history a little because that has totally changed for me. Well, not totally, but it's changed. So the story now is that they were drilling for a well like 100 years ago, and that was the start of it. Let's see, let me find it. Origin, a very deep pool of hot rock, blah blah. The first geyser was formed in 1916 when a well drilled seeking irrigation water. Now I don't remember anything about any of that happening in 1916. They had just said it's kind of new, and that's it. And I'm wondering this additional story kind of, you know, people will read that and go, well, maybe I didn't know about the first hole and I only heard about the second hole. But even the second hole is way back in time. When geothermal water at close to boiling point was found, the well was abandoned. And a 10 by 12 foot calcium carbonate cone formed. And I'm like, I'd like to see this other cone. I'm not sure what it looks like, but there was no second cone that was abandoned for me 7-ish years ago when I first heard of this. Okay, so in 1964, Geothermal Energy Company drilled a second well near the first site of the first well. The water was not hot enough for energy purposes. They reportedly capped the well, but the seal failed. The discharge from the second well released sufficient pressure that the original geyser dried up, dissolved minerals in the water, blah, 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 accumulated the new geyser, creating the cones and travertine pools. Okay, so they didn't exactly say when this failed, but I don't think it was just 10 years ago. The geyser has multiple conic openings sitting on a mound. The cones are about 6 foot. The entire mound is 25 to 30 foot. Temperature 93 degrees C, 200 degrees F. That's freaking hot. I don't know how hot they wanted it to be, but 200 F wasn't hot enough. So who bought this? Burning Man apparently bought this. When was that? I'm not even sure when, but Fly Ranch is open to small guided 3-hour tours. So that's another thing, is that I remember it as Fly Geyser, and that was it. It was just Fly Geyser. I didn't even know why it was called Fly Geyser, but there was never anything about Fly Ranch. So now apparently it was always on Fly Ranch, and that's why it was called Fly Geyser. And Jackie was saying she didn't remember ever hearing of Fly Ranch until like a few days ago, something very, very recent. So when I first looked into this, this was quite some time ago, but yeah, there was no Fly Ranch. And that Fly Ranch precedes the Burning Man owning of it. A prior well, or it's called a... So... All right, so apparently this other pillar of calcium carbonate is 12 foot tall, so it's even taller than Fly Geyser. All right, and Fly Geyser, they said, began releasing water in 1964. There is no way that it is that old. But I guess in this timeline it is, but I still say no. And the ridiculous colors. Come on, people. So now how many, you know, there's like 4 or 5 of these sprays. Do they, I guess they don't come out all the time. I'm like confused on this myself, but on some of these you can see some, and then I don't know, is this AIs? What is even happening? But yet that doesn't look like AI. You know, they just... A part of my brain says it's got to be AI, but there's too many of them that are too similar. There's multiple sprays there. Anyway, it looks totally fake, but I don't think it is. All right, that's a nice overview. Okay, so you've got this. Now you've got these terrace things forming. None of that was there 7 years ago. It was just this part only. Fly guide. Okay, so there's a lot of terraces. Then this part, I don't see that even being there. Ooh, maybe this is the original one. Still has color? Let's see. That looks like it might have been the original one that dried up. Boy, it's still got a lot of color, if so, though. That looks like a different one also. This is irritating. There's not saying what these are. Oh, that's a nice view. Okay. See, now in this one, it's all super green out here. But in other ones, it's brown. So best I can tell, these are all legit. I don't know if I'm just repeating now. Yeah, so again, we got all these just like random photos, but no real explanation. So, Fly Geyser, now known as Fly Ranch Geyser. Ice cream sherbet volcano, pretty much, except for sherbet's usually pastels in my experience. That is more like psychedelic. I thought his eyebrows were covered in silver paint. Yeah, that seems about right. Like, it's there, but it's not, like, dark like that. Why does the line have a gun and a I don't even know, like, what a DDT can looks like, so I can't really comment on that. Did I watch Fantastic Planet? Oh, I'm not sure. I'm not, maybe. That was a long time ago. Okay, there's been kind of a spate of weird lightning lately, and one of the things I'm seeing is, like, just weird, like, they're not the same size through the whole lightning. So, like, this one's, like, really fat at the bottom. And then somebody I know was trying to say there was, like, plate. She was having sheet, plate. I don't know. She was seeing certain kind of lightning that now she can't describe, but we couldn't find it. But I found this instead. And there was some other ones. Let's see if I can find those. All right, let me just go. I think I called it thick lightning. So yeah, it's like, okay, it's thick here, but it's thin there. So we had thin lightning and we had thick lightning, but we didn't have some of each. So what, it's real tiny there, but real fat there. I'm also seeing a lot where the place where it emits out of is really bright. It used to just come out of the cloud, but it didn't have this super bright, like, stuff all in the cloud. Okay, so that was the old thick lightning, although I think it's getting even thicker. And I'm not seeing that one that I did that. There's thin ones and thick ones. So I didn't have the thick lightning before. Oh, here's the thumbnail. So it's thin here, thick there. So, and then it's all bright up here. I was like, come on. Here's another example. Thick, thin, thick. Turning into like trees. Real bright there. Thin, then it's thick. All the rules are off. That's similar. Again, all bright here, thicker here, thinner there. So anyway, that's changing. That's the latest thing I'm seeing on the lightning. So I don't know who Mayim Bilalik is. I've never even heard of that person, so I don't have any comment. Sorry. Oh, yeah, okay, they're right. It actually is thing. So they have a, I don't know, all this planet stuff. You know, when I was a kid, they always said that planets with water we might be the only planet in the with water anywhere near, and has to be incredibly rare and special, and we're so lucky. And now there's like water on Mars, and there's water on the moon, and there's water on other moons, and there's water everywhere. So it's like nothing. But it used to be this big deal, like we didn't know any other place that, and then they also assumed that you had to have water to sustain life because there was nothing that lived without water back then. But now there always has been. And it's all just ridiculous. And there weren't like planets flying around out of orbit, like these rogue planets just fly around. So now we got, what, a comet, planet, whatever. I mean, we just didn't have all that stuff. Okay, so Jackie found this one, and it was just weird because I guess there's another, like they made another color. So the story then is that, let me get down here. This is how you have, okay, to see color, there's 3 different color receptors in your eye. There's short wavelength, medium wavelength, and long wavelength, and they all overlap a little. So if you're seeing green, then what'll happen is the medium will be triggered hard, and then the low will be triggered some, and then the short will be triggered only a very little. So when your brain sees M's triggered a lot, L's triggered a little less, and S is triggered very little, it'll go, that's green. You'll see it as green. So what the scientists did is they figured out how to find your individual cells, the cone cells in your eye, and map them all out and stimulate only the M cells, the medium length ones that respond to this wavelength only. But these were not triggered, which is something that supposedly never happens in regular life. So there was no interference with these two, and so people reported that they just saw the super intense green, like was like way, way, way more intense than anything else. I don't even know what. So then they call this new color Olo. Let's see. It refers to coordinates on a 3D map of color 0, 1, 0. The 0 is a 0. Blah blah. The 1 is a 1. Olo. Okay, so this color is called Olo, and only 5 people in the world have ever seen it, at least at the time of this writing. I don't know, there's a lot of this weird stuff going on, and there was like a year or 2 ago, they said, oh, you can see 2 colors at once. And I kind of thought of that recently because I could kind of see it when they described it. You look at one thing, you look at another, and then somehow both colors were triggering in your head at once. And I don't remember being able to do anything like that before. But the other day, somebody I know made some candy, and it was like because it was a little bit cooked and so the sugar was a little caramelized, it came out slightly orange, but then he added like pink dye in it. And then I'm like, is it pink or orange? It's like suddenly my brain saw both. I mean, it was like I see orange. If I'm thinking of orange, I see pink. If I'm seeing a pink, and I could see them both at the same time. And it was a weird experience because I just don't think that I would do that before. So anyway, new colors. I think we're going to see new colors. We're getting there. We're technically can already. Vicks Vapor Rub is from my timeline, but some people remember an apostrophe. I don't think I had an apostrophe. I'm not as good on apostrophes, but I don't think I had it. Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if it got one. Didn't it change to Vapo Rug or Rub or something, Vicks? I thought it changed to, wait, Vapor Rub. I'm pretty sure for a timeline I was in, yeah, Vapo Rub, Vapo. It did, okay. I remember Vapor Rub, but now it's Vapo Rub. So for me, there was a O-R and then a space and then a R-U-B. I come from a kind of boring timeline. We did not have many weird spellings. So that's the same Mandela as years ago. I remember that one from a long time ago. So apparently it's not that hard to make candies. You just kind of like get the temperature right if you have a little temperature gauge, because if you get it too hot, they will burn. And so we got some silicone molds, very inexpensive ones, so we could just pour the candy, the molten candy, into the molds, and they make pretty things. And we're actually trying to make like crystal sprays and stuff. There's different ways to do this. There's like a slow way where you make the candy really gelatiny and then you cut it all up and then it like takes a week to dry. I don't really want to just leave it out for a week. So we're trying to figure out a system where they'll be done like reasonably quickly and we can just stow it immediately, you know, in a container. I think I have some here. Let me see. Is it in here? Yes. This is funny because I only planned to bring 2, and I see that Dave snuck them in here, but I've left them in here, and part of the problem leaving them in here, one of our biggest challenges is that they get sticky, and we're working on that. Let's see. I don't know if you can really see them. Let me see how it looks up here. So, over here. So we poured these. They're just like 2 colors of red. That's why it looks weird. And so it's supposed to look like a crystal. We have some that are like longer, but these ones we're just playing with right now because it's, oh, there's some green on the edge. So basically we make up the candy mix and then we can pour it into a couple little containers and dye each one a little bit different color and then pour them all in. And we're working on a coating so that it won't be... the problem is they sit out and then the air gets on them and they get sticky. So these ones aren't too bad because I have them covered and I have a little desiccant thing. But I was only going to bring like 2 items and then I get in here and I see that Dave has been... So this one, I don't know if you can see it, but it's a like a seashell. So I have the horribly difficult task of tasting these, and many of them have various flavors. And then we're trying to get the texture. So the challenges are to get out all the bubbles. This one's not too bad. There's not too many bubbles. To get them so they're not sticky in the air, because we want to have them that you can set them out without them turning into super sticky nicks. This is interesting because this one's really sticky and this one's only a little bit sticky, so somewhat success. That's our latest project. Condes. So why do all this, pray tell? Part of it is because I hope to make artificial geode slices and crystals, because we have the real thing. This is not a candy, and we want to make artificial ones of these of candy, and then people could like have them, but you could also eat them, so they'd be fun for parties, right? So that's been the challenge basically, and we don't want to be too brittle because then they'll break and then you'll be like you know, but we want them to dry. We want them to not be sticky. They can't have too many bubbles. They got to be flat on the top so people can write names on them. No, you can write names in like edible gold. So that's our little game. I don't know why I'm talking about this, but there it is. I got off on a tangent. I'm actually really happy about this, but we still have some things to figure out. But it is so fun to make these. Okay, I have to say Dave knows most of the stuff. Like, I help. We make a good team because he knows a lot about making candies, but then I know a lot about the market and the marketing part, and then I'm like, well, if we have this kind of product, this is what we need, and this is the solutions we need, and... Alright, so this is an old thumbnail that Jackie noticed looked different. And what she said is she didn't remember the white dot. And I agree with this big white thing. I don't remember this. But then when I looked at that, I realized, like, when I first put this up, I don't remember all these weird orangey feet on the feet. I remember these feet and these feet, but I don't remember the feet on the feet. Like, I don't know what's going on here, but it looks like the feet grew feet. And they're very extra orangey, so you would notice, right? The feet got feet, so I'm calling Mandela on the feet getting feet. You know, I'm like, I feel like I'm on like weirdness inception. Like this thing looks weird, and then it grew feet, and then the feet grew feet. Are the feet from the feet gonna get feet? I mean, like, like, I see a lot of insects that used to just have feet, but now there's more feet coming out. I mean, like, it's just crazy. I don't think it rebranded. Let's see. Vicks Vapo Rub Logopedia. I think we looked this up before, and it was always what it is. Vicks. Excuse me. All right. Pneumonia salve. Well, that was before I was born. Let's just go to where I was alive. All right. So before I was alive, it was Vapo Rub. Then it was just Vicks. Vicks. Well, it's not saying what it is, but before I was alive, it was Vapo Rub. So I'm going to make a guess that it has not changed. Because it would have to change to Vapor Rub and then back to Vapo Rub and Logo Dicks. I don't know what's up with that. Vapo Rub. Yeah, I don't see any indication that it was anything else. Vicks Vapo Rub, other inhaled blah blah blah. Notice I spelled it the way I remember, and I can't find anything, so I don't think so. Yeah, so these are all candies. They're different flavors and stuff. It's actually not that, like, super hard to make candies. The trick is to get them so they won't be too sticky, and they won't have too many, like, bubbles. But the flavoring, you can just buy all kinds of yum flavorings and just, like, slosh it in there. And the color, same thing. You just buy a little bit of color. Yeah, feetception. The feet on the feet and the feet. Is it Filipino candy? I don't know what Filipino candy is. Basically, Dave was making some candy, and then I'm like, make some crystal ones because I think I could sell them. And then he started making, like, I ordered some molds, some silicone molds for them. And then he made some, and then somebody he knows wanted some for a party. And then, like, now, like, half the stuff he's fiddling with, somebody wants it for a party. Like, he knows a lot of people because he's just really good at, like, chit-chatting with everybody. And so he's like, I mean, we've made our money back because we'll spend like $50 on stuff, and then we managed to sell like $50 worth of candies, right? And he went out to a farmer's market and sold like little ones like that for like that one was like $3 or something, which is a good price for around here. It was very reasonable. But what I want to do is kind of get this that I can start selling it online, and I think it'll be pretty popular. They taste pretty good. They look awesome. So, like, if people have parties, it'd be really fun to have, like, all this stuff and it just be all edible. But what we need to do is get it so that it can, like, not get sticky. Like, say I sell it to Louisiana or something, it can't turn into, like, Stick Monster. Dave is not my partner. He's a friend of mine. He rents from there's a second little bitty house on our property, and he rents from there. But we do get along pretty good. So Dave, he's an interesting guy. He just has a lot of different interests. Like, he has guy interests. He has, like, he likes to make candy, but then he also, like, fixes cars. But he's also at times raised baby birds. But then he also likes raising snakes. You know, so, like, it's just, like, he doesn't fit any mold, really. And the other thing I think his biggest flaw is, is he just doesn't stick with anything. Like, he comes up with amazing crap. Like, just, he'll invent some neat thing. He'll sell it for 2 months. Then he'll be bored with it. I'm like, but there's a lot of money in that. But, I think it helps to have me, because I'll be like, I just keep him on it. And I'm into this one, because some of the other stuff, it wasn't my area. But I have a lot of customers who buy the regular stones. I know what they like. I know exactly what we need to make. And I won't have to worry about importing it from China. Or Brazil with tariffs if we make it out of candy. Candy. Yeah, that's the only bad thing is, like, I can't be yomping on candy all the time. I have to show, like, self-control. So I only taste them when we're coming out with a new product versus, like, every 5 minutes. So right now we're trying to get the round ones. We have some pretty decent crystal ones. And we just kind of started on that part. And then we really need to work on blocking them from being sticky. So I have a new product coming, but I'm waiting for it to show up before we can play. I'm hoping that this new one will solve the problem. Compliments of the AI who told me about this new product. MN Fats 45. I don't remember you. Did you have a different name? The Candy. Yeah, I don't know. That might be kind of a bad sounding name. The Candy Lady. Sounds like I'm kind of creepy. Crystal Geodes Candy. Yeah, I feel like this might have a pretty good wide-ranging interest level. So, like, this is something that Dave was able to trot out to the swap meet and sell right away. And I brought some of my stuff out, and frankly, it just, you know, you can sell like $40, but then you spent $20 on the slot, and it was a lot of work, and there's no way it's worth it. But I think, like, these we could sell more, and it's got more universal appeal because kids like it. And, you know, you could do like dinosaurs and crystals and hearts and emojis. I got emoji molds. Hopefully those come out good. There's a lot we could do, I think. And then if you sell them for parties, they're going to want a lot. You know, they're going to want $100, $200 with the candy, because that's how it works with when I can get a party for these geodes. They'll buy 100, they'll buy 200. Yeah, and there's a lot of cute stuff you can do. We want to do the gemstones, but then I want to also do like beach motif and stuff like that as well. Ah, Tom. Okay, I think I might remember you. I'm really bad at that kind of thing. Candy. Yeah, I know it's hard. I'm like, I got to put it away because you see it and then you want it. Like, if I just have it out of sight, I'll put these. I'll put these on. They look really tiny. These are actually dehydrated peas. Dave's been he's been on a kick on the dehydrator. If you just get all your stuff and dehydrate it, and then it lasts forever with one little desiccant packet. And then if I want peas in here, I can just put them in the water and psh, they're back. So anyway, we're perfecting our geode candies, and then I'm trying to decide. I might start a whole new store for them because they don't really, I don't know, they're kind of weird to be selling with like fur tails and stuff, but I'll keep my old store, of course. But you and Moneybag73 are the most knowledgeable of all Mandela effect. Possibly, but some of the knowledgeable people have quit since then. Like, there's a few others that they're just not around anymore. And Cynthia Sue Larson knows a fair lot about what's up, too. Yeah, that's the other thing. I don't want to eat carbs every day. It's definitely something that I could get sucked into, pardon the pun. If I let myself do it, then even if I go days without eating any and then I eat one, if I eat much, I'll already start craving it. It's tricky. Okay, so Jackie found this one, and I agree with her. Dunkin' Donuts. Did it have the whatever that is, apostrophe? I guess that's supposed to stand for the missing G, but I just don't remember that being there. It was just Dunkin' Donuts with no dangling apostrophe. I just don't remember anything having, I don't know, this timeline, I don't know what to say. But yeah, no, it looks ridiculous. Nobody did that. back in the day. And as best I can tell, it's always been Dunkin' Donuts with that thingy. I couldn't find any evidence of anything else. So I don't know why I want to speak with an accent today, actually. I really, really want to speak with an accent today, and I don't know why. Like this backwoods accent or something. Did you guys see the flame that won't burn? The flame that won't burn people. Okay, so what, they actually have it? Wait, shh, 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 shh. We don't want that sound. Holy fire. Yeah, I kind of looked, but I didn't really... I mean, I'm wondering if it's... If I took my hand and went over a flame, I don't think it would burn me if I didn't, like, sit there and go, la, 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 la. So, let me see. Are they going to be, like, roasting their hand? I don't know. No, it's not bad, actually. She's put effort into it. I wonder if it's possible to have a flame that... I guess I just don't trust, like, the church. It seems like it would be a scam. Who knows anymore, though, but... I'm going to have to ask Dave, because Dave knows all the new timeline stuff, and he knows a lot of this weird science-y stuff. When he was a kid, he used to blow up stuff. So he's older than I am, so back then you could just buy explosives at the hardware store. Why does it look like a crystal? Huh. I guess it's what, foil? So what do they have that's on fire here? Are they just wood sticks or something? Okay, so this story is that once a year, this flame that doesn't burn people comes out of, the holy fire comes out of this spot where they believe Jesus's tomb might be, and I don't know. I mean, I don't even remember them having any idea where Jesus's tomb might be, but not everybody agrees that this is the tomb anyways. Okay, I'm trying to see if there's anything useful info in here. I don't see anything. Holy Fire Festival, Jerusalem's Holy Fire Ceremony 2025. Yes, I've never heard of this thing. I'm going to have to do some research to see if there's, like, a way to have fire that is not that hot. And I do feel like fire got less hot. Like, I see all the time that I just grab stuff right out of the oven at 375 and I can touch it, like, 10 seconds later. And that was never the case. You see people, like, they'll wet their hand and then dunk it in hot oil real quick. And I guess that little tiny bit of water protects them enough to do a quick dunk. That was never a thing before. She's dipped her arms in some kind of anti-fire chemical. Oh, I don't know. What is the point of whatever they're doing? I think they're trying to say it's a miracle because the fire doesn't burn people. Hence, it is evidence of their religion being legit. Jesus' tomb is in Golgotha, the Hill of Skulls. Okay, so we know that. Jesus' tomb in Golgotha. Jesus' tomb, is that agreed on, or is it still argued about? I don't know of us knowing where his tomb was. Subject of debate among scholars and religious groups. According to the gospel accounts, Jesus was buried in a tomb that originally belonged to Joseph of Arimathea, a wealthy man who believed Jesus was the Messiah. Possible locations of the tomb of Jesus include the Church of the Holy Sepulchre and the Garden Tomb. One is located in the Christian quarter of the Old City of Jerusalem and is believed to be by many to be the site of both the crucifixion and burial of Jesus. There is a rock-cut tomb that is venerated as the final resting place of Jesus. The tomb has been dated to the 4th century AD, and its authenticity is widely debated. Okay. Another one was discovered in 1867. I don't know. This stuff I don't think was in my timeline. Because I remember them saying whereabouts it might be. Like there was a documentary saying, well, it probably is around here. We think it might look like this. But there was nothing about these supposed maybe tombs. The Church of the Holy Sepulchre is the most widely accepted site for Tomb of Jesus. The Garden Tomb is also considered by some to be a potential location. The exact location remains a subject of scholarly and religious debates. Okay, the third one option is Golgotha, skull-shaped hill outside Jerusalem city walls where Jesus was crucified near the tomb. Evidence is quite positive for the skull feature having been Golgotha, or the place of the skull where Jesus was crucified. Huh. Yeah, okay. Wasn't in my timeline, no. I switch accents without realizing it. I usually would only switch accents if I'm hanging out with people of that accent. Then I might switch to them, especially if it's somebody I've hung out with a lot, so that I've already kind of inculcated into the accent. It can come real fast, especially if I'm not careful. But it's unusual for me to just kind of yank it out there for no reason. Asians can walk on hot coals. Yeah, but anybody can walk on hot coals. I mean, it's popular in America to do the hot coal walk. But there's a trick to it, okay? And I hear about it because if they screw it up, there's problems. You got to get the coals a little bit old so they're cold and kind of blackish with only some red in them. They're not like the really hot ones. And then people just have to keep on walking. You can't like stay still. You got to like chug ahead so that your feet get air a lot. And as long as you don't have to walk too far, then you can get across it before your feet get too hot. So that's the trick. And they'll make a big spiel about it and you get all psyched up and I could do it. Well, actually anybody could do it. It's just not that big a deal. But like I said, you got to keep cruising. They even tried that fire on beard and hair and it won't burn. There is cold fire. Okay. I'm just kind of wondering, in this timeline, I wouldn't be shocked if there was like a kind of a cold fire. Okay, let's just look at this. Cold fire is a fire. Is there a type of fire that looks like fire but does not get super hot? I'll ask the normal AI, then I will ask cold flame is type flame does not get super hot. Around 752F releases little heat. Cool flames are difficult to observe and uncommon in everyday life. But they can be responsible for engine knock. Alright, it's saying it doesn't look like a typical fire though. Let's see. Let's just see what DeepSeek thinks of this. Doink. Let's see what I've been reading here. Mitochondria stuff. Checking on supplements. DeepSeek is one of my favorites for digging up stuff. Now, you still have to kind of verify stuff because it does get a little bit confused sometimes. But it is good at digging up stuff you never heard of. So then you can go verify it further. Oh, it looks a little stumped by this question. And it may return a server busy answer. I swear, if it's not sure, it'll say a server's busy. You ask it about like drug use, it does not like that question, or any kind of like Chinese politics. It'll be like, server's busy. Well, it looks like it's stuck. Okay, we'll come back to that. Holy fire does not burn clothes. Oh, it's like super stuck. I've never seen it do that. Interesting. Yep, server's busy. Okay, let's try again. I don't know if they're doing updates, but lately last few days, there's been a lot of server busies. Okay, let's see. We did Dunkin' Donuts. This was a weird one. It's probably boring as sin to you guys, but I know this didn't happen because I lived in California in 1989, and this just didn't happen, okay? So when I was younger, they started saying that there's this Mediterranean fruit fly that was infecting the orchards. And they went door to door. They even inspected our house, all the houses, all the gardens. They went through your garden, and they're like, you like, we had these little berries on a bush. I remember my mom was so bad because she loved, I think it was called pyracantha, and she loved that bush, and she loved the little berries. And they're like, you got to pull off all those berries. There wasn't even that many, but because the fruit fly might infest them, and we're not sure if the fruit fly likes those. So we had to make sure that there was no fruit flies in our yard. And the way that was done was that anything they could infest was removed. And then they started aerial spraying, and it was like once a week they'd aerial spray, and it was malathion. And one of the things you could not have is your car outside uncovered because it would damage the paint on your vehicle. And even as a child, I think a few of us are like, this might not be good. So you had to be in the house during the spray time, and you had to have your car covered either in the garage or with a car cover. If you did not, you could have paint damage. Now, I don't know how bad it was. I don't really remember massive damage, but I don't know. So this went on for like some time, and I'm not sure how long, and then they finally ended it. And then a number of years later, they said, oh no, the fruit fly's back. Now, we never really knew how it got there to start with, but they thought it was on like shipments of produce from other countries, or maybe other states, or I think it was other countries. And it came back. So then they sprayed again, okay? And then they stopped after they didn't find them anymore. And you would hear like, oh no, they were found in this orchard and this orchard. And we still to this day have little traps that are put around orchards and stuff. And they are to just see what bugs get in there and make sure that there's no invasive ones. And the government goes around and checks those traps. The government experts go around and check those traps to make sure there's no more fruit flies or whatever. So there was 2 sprayings. There was no big drama, though. That was just like, oh crap, it's back. Maybe we didn't get it the first time or what, but we're spraying again. And they did. And then it was gone. Okay. Then like other times after that, there were more insects, and at some point they just said, well, hell, that, we can't just spray forever. But this did not happen. This is just total horse hockey. Scientists were puzzled and said that the sudden appearance of the insects defies logic, and some speculated biological terrorists were responsible. Analysis suggested that an outside hand played a role in the dense infestation. It really wasn't like that at any time. That it was just like, wait, we found 2 fruit flies in this orchard, and oh no, we found 1 fruit fly over in this other orchard that's nearby, and there was no talk about it being defying of the logic or being excessively dense or any of that. And then this thing, a person or group calling itself the Breeders. And this just really kind of reminds me of the current drama about like what is a woman and all that too. So that's kind of weird. The Breeders took responsibility for the bioterrorist attack as financial retaliation for the environmental damage caused by the state's malathion aerial spraying. So I guess the story here is that because we sprayed the first time. They released more of the insect to make sure it didn't work. And then there was a second infestation, and the second infestation is blamed on these people. That never happened. Oh my God, it would have been every news thing forever. Subsequently, 3 months after the breeders announced the medfly release, the state decided to end its decade-long malathion program. I don't remember there being like a decade of spraying. There was some spraying. They stopped for a bunch of years, and then there was some spraying again. That was it. I really remember like the old, oh no, not again thing after years of no spraying. They did not spray for 10 years. So this whole thing is weird. Okay, 75 when medflies were first seen. Okay, that sounds right. Deployed the traps there. Yes. Let's see. In 1989, as many flies were captured had been captured in the previous 15 years combined. See, no, that's not right, because they weren't catching them all through those years. We sprayed, and then there were no more for years. They weren't just keep catching them because we had sprayed and got rid of them. Then they came back. The greatest concentration of medflies were found around Orange County, and with a triangle linking the eastern edge of L.A., San Bernardino, and Riverside. I don't even remember it going all the way to LA. Huh. The state retreated from its position that the 12 outbreaks since August each represented isolated infestations. No, that just wasn't. This just did not happen. Then this claim of responsibility and the breeders. Why would you name that? It's a weird name. Okay, anyway, no, that didn't happen. I was there. I lived here. I lived in the heart of the infestation, and it did not happen. It's complete lies. Yeah, you kind of like, I wasn't even that old, but there was much talk. I mean, my mother, this is actually probably good now, but she complained a lot. I mean, anything that was, you know, kind of a hassle. So she had to make sure the car was in. I don't think we had enough room in the garage for two, so one of them had to get covered. That was a hassle, you have to remember. She was also not too big on the spraying of the poisons, and so she much complained about that. So I heard about all this stuff, like, endlessly. We are closer to the center of the Milky Way. Yep, although there was, like, we moved from the edge to kind of the middle, and it seems like we've just kind of stuck there since then. I haven't really seen us move since that first move. Not significantly. Is the center made of nougat? Oh, anything can happen. I should probably talk about that dark oxygen today if I can squeeze it in. I have a bunch of good Mandelas saved on my Reddit, and I kind of want to get to some of them. I remember fruit fly epidemic San Francisco. Yeah, I'm kind of like, I think it went that far, but I didn't think it went to all the way to LA, but I'm really not sure on that one. Rainbow spiderwebs. Wait a minute. This is something I predicted, but could not find. Rainbow spiderwebs. I did find some, like there was some water on it, and then the light hit it a certain way, but it wasn't the actual spider web. Captivating phenomena when light interacts with water droplets. That might be... wait, the heck? Wait a minute. I don't remember him being that bright. Okay. God, I kind of almost wonder if that's a scam. Like, that's pretty. It's like, you know, when I looked this before and I typed in rainbow spiderwebs, and I did not find much of anything. So, either this is fake or it's shifty. Like, I wonder if that one's fake. Well, there's not a lot of them. So with AI and CGI and all that, Photoshop, I kind of a little suspicious. Yet I did predict that we would get these. Nope, not real. See, I don't think that's real either. If that's real, that's pretty cool. So you could like put that into an AI and tell it to do that, and it would just barf it out. Put rainbow color on this image, and there you go. Well, that one's cool. That's why I've got to be skeptical now. Okay, so sneaking closer, but still it's not actually the spider silk. I could see it easily happening though, because they could just say, oh, this is a especially reflective, unusual spider silk, and there you go, done. Okay, wait, looks like I've got everything now. I don't recall the flies being a result of a deliberate attack. Yeah, nope. Yeah, they said it was shipments, like shipments of fruits. There was, and see, in this timeline, they even admitted, so there would have been a big old stink. No, it was definitely just, and I remember it going, oh, we found one in blah, blah orchard, and then I was like, oh, please don't find any more, and then they're like, oh, no, we found one over here now, and everyone's like, oh, please don't find any more. But they just find like one or two. They didn't find millions of them. I have a feeling that the real Pope died long ago. I don't even know what's real anymore. Who the heck knows? Velvet Ant. That is an early Mandela for me. Although I think it's a little less velvety than... There's a bunch of these velvet ants now, so I think that's part of it. Velvet Ant. Oh, that reminds me. So we came out of the house, it was a couple days ago, and there was the biggest moth, and it was all like the legs were all fuzzy, and it looked like a kind of a leaf looking thing. It was just it was huge. I've never seen anything like that. But they're so fuzzy now, the legs. See, there's different colors of these velvet ants. There's one. When they first came out, they were the same. Thistledown velvet, that's a more recent one. I have not seen this one before. When they first came out, there was one, and now there are many. This one I saw recently, that one is super cute. Never thought I'd say an ant was cute, but it's cute. Yeah. Yeah, Vivian, I would not be surprised if that's the first stage of then. First they're saying it's just the lighting, and then they'll say, oh, the web is got special properties and certain lighting. And then, yeah, it could be, oh, this one, you know, it would make sense, because if they're trying to attach attract flies. Oh, well, it's red colored and it looks like food or something. It looks like a flower, so it'll catch bees. Peppered moth caterpillar. Let's see. Come here. Nice. Okay, so that's the caterpillar, I assume, right there. I have not seen that one. That one's a pretty good one right there. It really does look like a stick. So it's one of those inchworms. Nice. Yep. Ah, no sound. Mistakes. Mistakes were made. The animal kingdom is getting prettier and prettier. To some extent, in many ways, yes, but some of them are getting grosser and grosser. Yeah, if I play music, I could get a copyright strike. They're very picky. It does not take many tones before I will get a copyright strike. I think with that one, I could probably go back and have the sound removed for a couple seconds, but no, not good. All right, we got rid of velvet ants. Holy fire. I want to go back and look at that. Okay, we did the Icky Demon Cat. Now, this one is probably just died, but they're saying that they're seeing red dogs in Georgia. And again, it's the same bullcrap story as last time. Oh, they jumped into a box with rubia natural coloring. It is used to dye eggs for Easter. Okay, the entire dog is red. Okay, his stomach would have it. What did he just carefully pad his whole eyeballs and every? I mean, like, no, this dog was dyed red. Okay, there's no way that it just rolled in some rubia natural coloring. It's dyed. And I don't understand why they're saying that, because it's a ridiculous story. I could see him getting it on his feet, on his stomach, maybe even on side, but not like every last molecule of it. Well, how did it get it on the top of its tail, you know? So there was like squirrels and some other cats and stuff that have showed up like that too. I'm like, somebody dyed them. It's my story and I'm sticking to it. Okay, this one. Oh, this one. Yes. This one's crazy town. So apparently the Colosseum, now they're saying it had a roof. It's called the vellum. A retractable awning setup was on the original Colosseum. The vellum of the Colosseum. So apparently they ran ropes and they had this wood, like, see these sticky things? They're all sticks of wood, and they were used to hold up this vellum thing. Okay, so here's the storyline, that they had these sticks of wood. This is like a recreation AI style, I'm sure. Known as the vellum. And then they would run these ropes from the sticks of wood, and then they run this fabric down, covering 22,000 square meters and weighing 80 tons. So I don't think they actually did this in the current reality. They're just saying this is how it was done. The sunshine provided essential relief for spectators. They're saying that the show would go from dawn till dusk. During the games, it lasted sunrise to sunset. Have you ever heard of the vellum on the Colosseum? Suspended above the arena. I mean, that's like ridiculous. A central ring of ropes was hoisted using a complex system of pulleys, connecting to 240 wooden masts encircling the amphitheater. Small holes near the top of the Colosseum were for the wood thingies, I believe. See, they're still there. And I don't remember those being there either, so. Provide solid support for these 20-meter-high masts. The ropes extended to winches outside the amphitheater. There were, already said that. Secured to mooring bollards. 5 of which still survive today. So they know it's true or whatever. Amphitheater Coliseum had a roof. So I would guess then they all could do that. Vellum. I'm pretty sure I would have heard of that before. I've seen enough. We learned about them in school. There's been so many documentaries, yet they've never talked about the vellum. You know, but so, like, some of this stuff is still there, supposedly. Yeah, we had green cats and a purple squirrel, and they always say weird stuff like, oh, it is believed the cat laid in some green copper dye or something. It's like, no, that thing's dyed. It's even all over it. I don't remember Easter as Holy Week. I don't either, actually. But what I do remember a Holy Week. I thought that was like Muslim, though, the Holy Week. The Muslim Holy Week. So I remember velvet ants showing up for me like 8 years ago. Those seem so crazy then, the early Mandelas. Like, oh my God. And there was a guy that used to do a lot of videos on here who loved ants. And so he was all flipping out because those are cool. I mean, I guess it's not that weird that there's a red dog because somebody probably dyed it. But why are these stories that this is like these ridiculous stories? Like, it's the same stupid story over and over. It just happened to get perfectly evenly dyed by laying in some paint, laying in some colorant, whatever. It's just, why do they keep saying silly stuff? And we know that they dye animals' colors because it has a certain trendy thing they're doing. Okay, this one, dark oxygen. Yes, I wanted to talk about this for a while. Dark. These are all cool Mandelas, but they don't have good photos, so that's why they didn't get dark oxygen. So the story now is that you don't have to worry about the rainforests or the kelp beds or the algae creating all of the dark, all the oxygen, because now apparently rocks have oxygen. Rocks at the bottom of the ocean. To Scientific American, and it's dark oxygen. Baffling new results showed that rock-like mineral deposits in the deep sea can produce oxygen. These unassuming metal deposits called polymetallic nodules contain metals such as manganese and cobalt used to produce batteries, marking them as targets for deep-sea mining companies. Now researchers have discovered that the valuable nodules do something remarkable. They produce oxygen and do so without light. This is totally new and unexpected. The idea that some of Earth's oxygen gas may have come not from photosynthesizing organisms, but from inanimate minerals in total darkness really strongly goes against what we would traditionally think as of where oxygen is made and how it's made. Yeah, no duh. The researchers sent landers down more than 13,000 feet, created enclosed chambers on the seabed to track how oxygen levels in the water fell over time, but oxygen levels did not fall. Instead, they rose significantly. Thinking the sensors were broken, Sweetman sent the instruments back to manufacture. This happened 4 or 5 times. I literally told my students, throw the sensors in the bin. They just do not work. Then he went on a survey expedition sponsored by the Metals Company, a deep-sea mining firm. Again, teams used ladders to make enclosed chambers on the seafloor and monitor oxygen levels. They used a different technique to measure oxygen this time, but observed the same strange results. Suddenly, I realized that I'd been ignoring this hugely significant process, and I kicked myself. They thought it was microbes. some microbes can generate dark oxygen in the absence of sunlight. Well, all right. So we've got now these stones. We've got microbes. We've got multiple different types of photosynthetic pigments. And see, we're all worried about running out of oxygen. And all we got is more and more creatures and sources of it. All right, so they poison the seawater to kill off the microbes, but oxygen levels still increased. So it wasn't the microbes. They tested possible hypotheses. He heard the nodules referred to as a battery in a rock. It led him to wonder whether nodules could somehow be acting as natural geobatteries. If they were electrically charged, they could potentially split seawater into hydrogen and oxygen through a process called seawater electrolysis. Amazingly, there was almost a volt of electrical charge on the surface of these nodules. An AA battery carries about 1.5 volts. Oh, okay. The nodules may become charged as they grow, as different metals are deposited. This all sounds like horse hockey, but apparently this is our reality. In most experiments, oxygen production ceased after 2 days, which might indicate that the lander caused it by disrupting something about the environment. But it is also possible the reaction eventually stopped because of a bottle effect with the enclosed chamber. The product built up, reactants go away, and the reaction sort of stops. Okay, so they need maybe fresh water to come through to operate. I'm almost guarantee that they are gonna eventually say, oh look, these nodules just keep making oxygen, because this is where we're going with this stuff. Like, you know, they used to say that oil was like made out of dinosaurs. Now that I say it, it sounds so stupid. And it always sounds stupid, but now it really sounds stupid. Somehow a whole bunch of dinosaurs died and squashed together and made oil, okay? So now they're saying, okay, oil actually comes from processes deep in the earth. So if that's the case, then there is not a finite supply. We got tons. Now they're saying there's tons of water deep down there. Okay, now we've got tons of oxygen deep down there. So, like, the more we worry, the more solutions just show themselves. We got to stop worrying. Because we got dark oxygen. Dude. Alright, let's see. This one was kind of weird. Hey, look, I'm kicking along. It's only 1:30. What's my personal Mandela? Oh, okay. Oh, this is a good one. Okay, so, and some weird coincidences too. All right. So the cats that come in here, there used to be two that always came in regularly. There was the striped tabby and then the almost pure gray one. And a couple of weeks ago, the pure gray one stopped showing up. So I was like kind of bummed. I was hoping somebody collected that one. Like, he was getting really friendly. He was really snuggly and he was really cute. Like, I could see somebody just keeping him, right? So then, like, a couple days ago, my neighbor over there, who's not in there right now, she said, do you have a cat in there? And I'm like, oh, well, sometimes there's one. And she said, well, I really wanted that gray one. And I'm like, well, I just have the stripe one. She said, oh, no, I want the gray one. I tried to get him to come in, but he wouldn't. And yeah, I didn't know if anybody owned him because he had a collar. Like, because he did have a collar on, and I don't know if anybody was taking care of him or not, but right. So I'm like, well, it's a bummer because he's disappeared, so I think somebody got him. And I go, look, I have this other stripy one. She's like, no, I want the gray one. I'm like, oh, well. So I was like, bummers, she even had an adopting family available, and he's disappeared. So the very next day, though, I saw him out there, and I'm like, Chibi, he has a special run where he puts his tail like a squirrel and he hops along because he's just a goober, and he loves to go kind of bloop, 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 bloop with his tail all up. And so I knew it was him because he did that, and he was gray. And he comes from this one clan of cats, and he was with all the clans. So he was with Tiger and the black one, and those all come in here sometimes, that they're just not regulars, you know. So he was with his clan. He was clearly Chibi, but he did not have his collar on, and I just thought that was really weird that that woman was talking about the collar just the day before. And I'm like, did she try to steal him and scare him? Because he will not come over here now. And we did not have an argument. Me and the cat did not have any argument. So I'm thinking maybe she had to try to lock him in and scare him or something. But so that was a weird coincidence that after weeks of him missing, she said something, and I saw him the next day. And I have not seen him in the last few days, but he was over there. And the weird thing, though, is after I'm like, this has got to be Chibi, but he didn't have his collar on. And I'm like looking at him, but he behaved just like Chibi. And then he loves petting like Chibi, and he's hanging out with the clan of Chibi. And then he turns and looks over, and he has... Now, remember that bird that was white that suddenly grew a black spot on his chest? Well, now we have a gray cat, and he turned, and he has a perfect white spot on his chest. And I know he did not have that. And I was just like, gah! He did not have that. And I mean, I guess someone could say maybe it's not Chibi. I am so positive that that is Chibi. So, yeah, I was like, Twilight Zone. Twilight Zone on the way. And that was not long after last week's show. And I just, a perfect white circle, Snow White. And I even looked for his owner and stuff before. And so I looked him over really carefully for markings to make sure that, he was solid gray. He has a few slightly darker black strikes on his tail, stripies. And that was it, like kind of rings, which is common in this timeline for cats. But he grew a white spot. It just creeped me out. Now, it's low enough that his collar would not have hit it either, Eve. So some of the other cats have changed colors. The stripy one, she's starting to get like a little orange on her back. It's starting to fill in, and I'm wondering if she's going to fill in like our other cat did. Because our other cat was stripy and then filled into solid gray. So that's what happens in this timeline. Like, they change. It's bizarre. So that was one thing that Chibi got a circle. Acts like Chibi otherwise. I don't know. It's just, sometimes they suddenly change their personality some. And I'm like, did something bad happen to this cat? Or is this cat just more sheepish in this timeline? So there was that. And then there was another location not far from here on the second most common road that I take. Like, there's one main way down, but sometimes I take one road over. The one road over has some new trees that are very beautiful. And I'm going to have to, like, stop there and get out and find out what they are. But they're beautiful trees. There's, like, 3 or 4 of them. They're about 30 years old, I would guess. They were definitely not there before. And there's also these, there's, like, a structure there that looks like really super high-end sheds or something. Now, okay, granted, they could have slapped those sheds in there pretty fast, but the trees all are perfectly in the right environment with those sheds, and those are not old. They're not fresh trees. So something's going on with that corner. That area has been real shifty. So that would be those 2 things for this week were my personal Mandelas. I think that's everything. I think there might have been some smaller ones. Yeah, just the spot this time. So our cat changed color, but it was like bit by bit by bit, And then the black one, I had said like a month ago, suddenly had white ticks all over it. And like 1 or 2 weeks ago, I did say that the whiskers on several of them now are two-tone. Like, for me, when a cat had white whiskers, like, the whisker would be white all the way to the end. Maybe he'll have a black one, but that one would be black all the way to the end. But now they'll be like black part way and then white, or black part way and then gray. And several of the cats just suddenly now have that where it's black part way and then white. It's about half are states that named after native name. You know, there's like that whole Tartaria story, like that they were actually cities there before we came, like not just Native Americans in like little simple huts and stuff, but and not even like stacks of stones, but actual huge monster cities. Like Chicago isn't supposed to be like, there's old maps that have a word like it was like Chilago or something on there, and showed like castles and big giant freaking things. And then now there's a story that there's genetic evidence that the current Native Americans weren't the first ones here, and there was another batch before them. So there's like, oh, there's so many, like, there's so much drama in the history now. Minnesota, yeah. Goddess Four Winds, glad you're here. As you said, you're often here, so that's cool. Yeah, so I don't know. He didn't want to come over here, so I mean, they're pretty happy here. I always have mixed feelings because I think other people feed them, and I've talked to those neighbors, and apparently there's somebody over there who also takes care of them, and I think she's the one that got them all fixed. And I asked him to see if she would like contact me at this location. I haven't heard anything, but I'll tell you, all those cats love each other, and they would. I think that they would be really sad if I split them out, and that's another thing. And a bunch of those are really outdoorsy cats. They'll come in here for a half hour, but then that's it. They're done. They want to be outside. And since this is California, you know, nobody's going to freeze to death. So, like, Tiger, he'll come in when it's raining and he'll eat. And then he'll get some pets. And then he doesn't even care if it's raining. He'll just trot right back out there. Like, some of the cats will be like, oh, I'll wait till it stops raining. But not him. He don't care. And he's got pretty thick fur. So, plus I can't really take him home because we've got cats and ours are outdoor, indoor because they were strays also. And these city cats don't know how to not get eaten by a coyote. So it's just tricky. We can't have those indoor, outdoor, and then these would have to be indoor. And they don't want to be indoor. Okay, so this is a weird thing. The Earth has a heartbeat every 26 seconds, and they're not talking about the Schumann as far as I can tell. Scientists have detected a rhythmic microseismic pulse coming from somewhere in the ocean, and exact cause is still unknown. All right, now this guy is saying it's not a pulse every 26 seconds, but a continuous hum with the 26-second period. Okay, so it changes every 26 seconds. They said that what probably comes from oceanic sources. Microseism. Let's see. Microseism. Not heard of that. Microseism. A faint earth tremor caused by natural phenomena. Sometimes referred to as a hum. It should not be confused with the anomalous acoustic phenomena of the same name. I guess those are the Taos hums. They're not saying it's not that. Dominant background seismic EM noise signals on Earth, which are caused by water waves in the oceans and lakes. Because the ocean waves oscillations are statistically homogeneous over several hours, the microseism signal is long continuing oscillation. Okay. I don't know. So there's like kind of a weird thing because sometimes if I'm really sleepy, instead of going home, I got like, it's a short couch, but it's long enough to mostly stretch out. And I'll just go, I got a little blanket and a pillow, and I'll just go sleep on there and then like maybe sleep a couple hours and go home. Maybe I'll sleep until morning, work a bunch, and then go home, whatever. But in that room, I do not know what it is because I have the light off. There is the weirdest hum where it's just like mom, hum, rum. And I don't have the AC on, I don't have the heater on, I don't have the light on. I don't know even what would make that hum in there, but that room, it's just weird. You could just hear it. I don't know, maybe if I tried to sleep in one of the other rooms, I would hear it too, but what's a microbarome? Voice of the sea, atmospheric infrasonic waves generated in marine storms by a nonlinear interaction of ocean surface waves with the atmosphere. Sinusoidal waveforms. Wait. A strange pain that a person experiences when approaching the surface of a standard meteorological probe. A balloon filled with hydrogen. During one of the expeditions, this effect was demonstrated by the Soviet academician V.V. Shulaikin. Blah, blah, blah. The phenomena drew interest. Infrasonic nature of the voice of the sea microbaromes. I don't get what that has to do with them having a pressure approaching our man-made balloon thing, though. All right, the motion of the ocean waves in deep water, equivalent to a pressure applied to the sea surface. The pressure is nearly equal to the water density times blah. Okay, we're getting in crazy math here. Maybe produced by standing waves created between storms. Microbaromes and nuclear explosions. Microbaromes are a significant noise source that can potentially interfere with the detection of infrasound from nuclear explosions. I don't know. I think we're going to hear more from those microbaromes things. I'm going to write that down. It's kind of vaguey on there, like, how loud are they? They're saying somebody could sense it when they went near a helium balloon, but, like, I don't get why the helium balloon made the sound get sensed. And this is like, again, science that's I'm not smart enough for. I swear jelly used to be jam in America. You know, I've never been like super clear on that. It was peanut butter and jelly, but then what's the difference between jelly and jam? I think jelly is what, more jiggly, and jam is more like sloppy, right? But now that you mention it, I don't know if my parents ever even really got jelly. I think they always got jam, and we would just call it jelly. And hence I got confused because they go, you want peanut butter and jelly, and they'd be giving me jam. Jelly in Australia is jello. Okay, yeah, jello is super jiggly, and I would say jelly is somewhere between jello and jam. So, yeah, jelly is not jello, though. Because you don't eat peanut butter and jello. You do eat peanut butter and jelly in America. Jello with a J though for me, not with a G. I do not know of the Gello. I have not seen that before. What are my thoughts on it? Marmalade. I'm not sure what marmalade is. I know there's orange marmalade, and to me, it's kind of like bumpy jam. But some normal jams are kind of bumpy too if they leave the skin in. So I think it's more tart, the marmalade. I'm not really an expert on this stuff. Look what up. Jello is made from gelatin. Yes. And is not related to fruit-based preserves. But the jelly is jiggly, so I'm wondering if they slap some gelatin in it. I agree with you on the Jello being made of gelatin. I did know that since I was a kid. Marmalade is basically a citrus fruit jam. Okay, that's what I thought. Because it was orange. I don't really know of a marmalade other than orange marmalade. That's the only one that seems to be common around here. I thought that was fine, but we have orange marmalade, and orange has got some sugar in them, and it's fine. It's a little more tart, but it's not like tarty tart. Marmalade. Yeah, it is one of those funny names. Jelly is strained to remove all the fruit and think has a higher amount of pectin. Oh, yeah, I think pectin is kind of the jiggly stuff. Okay, makes sense. So we made jam when I was a kid from, like, apricots. Oh, God, apricot jam. Because we had apricot trees. We made a lot of apricot jam. It's heaven. The stuff in the store is just crap compared to really good actual made out of apricot jam. But I never made jelly, so I didn't. That's one of the reasons I don't really know that much about it. Yeah, we didn't do we mostly did apricot for two reasons. One, we had giant hordes of apricots. And two, we love apricots. Three, you can't really buy any decent apricot stuff in the store hardly ever. And then four, by the time we got done making all those apricots, we were like, we had any desire to make jam was out of our system. So it mostly was just apricots. We didn't have to pay for those. If I had to buy strawberries, then it wouldn't have been worth it. Jif in Australia is a cleaning product. Yeah, it was definitely Jiffy. Okay, where are we here? Wind wave. Wind wave, what is that? Wind generated wave. Okay, those existed. This one just kind of shows the tail. I think the tail just keeps getting longer on these horses. So this is a little colt or full little baby horse. And they didn't just... For me, originally, they just couldn't do anything with their... Like, their tail would just dangle. And they had, like, a little nub, and they could swish their tail. And you could just get... They could just get it going a little bit, okay? Then the story was, oh, Arabians have a little bit longer tail, and they could stick out their tail, which I was already suspicious of. And I saw all these images of horses parading around with their like a sticky part of their tail sticking out, and then the hair going down. And I've been, like, pissing and moaning for a while that is not right. And their tail gets longer and effing longer, you know. It's like... When I was doing brushing the horses at the rescue, I'm like, okay, how long is the tail now? Because it didn't, used to be here, now it's here. So this guy is, like, ridiculous, because now they're just, like, they look like deer or something. So he's trotting around, and he's got his little deer tail up. And there's even people in there going, what is that animal? And people saying, well, I didn't know they could do that. They could stick up their tail. Because they couldn't. They couldn't stick up their tail like an effing deer. But now they can. His head's real high and he's really proud, but This is a load. They couldn't do that. They weren't deer. And their ears weren't all pointy inside either, I might add. So I'm calling... This is a huge one for me. Their tails just get longer. It's so long. It's ridiculous. I also am pretty sure that their actual fur, like the dangly tails on the babies, were longer than I now see them. Like, so the story now is that the tails are real short and they just grow out as the animal ages, but slower than I remember. Let's put it that way. When will our old skull come back? I don't think it's coming back, sorry. I love strawberry and rhubarb jam. I've never had strawberry and rhubarb jam. I've had strawberry and rhubarb pie, and it is good. The tart and the sweet, they're beautiful together. So, I think rhubarb grows in a lot of places. It's a perennial. You might be able to just grow rhubarb. And the fancier groceries have the frozen rhubarb, so you could make your own. Marmalade is citrus fruits. I only know orange marmalade, so it was like a bumpy tart jam made out of orange. Was my impression of it while consuming. People have swelling issues near their eyes. Like here, you mean? I do kind of notice that more, but I think because the cheek is right here now and all poofy out, that's contributing. The cheeks are sucked in. Oh, like here. Okay, so this whole thing, the current timeline, they remove that buccal fat or whatever. There's like some strip of fat in here and the stars are like removing that. I do think it's a prelude for having sucked in chins though, or cheeks, but Sorcerers of Death's construction is now Sorcerer of Death construction. I don't know Black Sabbath, sorry. Protest for our old skull. I don't know who's in charge. Sorry. I know. Because they have a whole tail under there now. It used to be just a nub, but it's so long now. Nope, they have that. So I've seen them kind of do that, but I haven't seen them do it as much as that one did. Yeah, I don't know. People say they look like they ran into a wall now because the face is all out here, and then that causes like these lines here. So it's kind of like this. I don't know. It's kind of like a bear face or something. It just like B-E-A-R. Just poofy faced, and then the cheeks are up here, and then I don't know. It just the cheek thing. It's just it's not right. Look up the lumps. I don't know what you mean. Like, you got to give me more clue because I can't look up lumps, face lumps on Google. You're going to see some bad stuff that you don't want to see. Oh, these. Yeah, these weird dents. I know. They were just like a little bit, and now because the jaw attaches here in a huge muscle, so I do have to say my jaw is a lot stronger now, but it's bigger, and I don't really like having this giant jaw because I'm like, oh, okay, I've got pretty good cheekbones over here, but now I have this giant chomper jaw. It's like, no, I'd rather not. Orange peel. Yeah, they might. It might be orange peel and marmalade. Yeah. I think what's where we're heading with this this sucked in cheek thing here. So for me, like the cheekbones used to be way up here, like, and then they really stick out. So it makes sense that now there's like a dent in here, and then these jaws got big, right? So, yeah. They look like people have... So you mean like this? This is like the chunk part? Around the eyes, you mean here? Like where that big bone is? Because yes, there's big bone right there now. Sticky outy. Yes, I agree. This is the green color. I turn off the... Oh, yeah, yeah. I think they're calling that... What's that funny word they have now? Oh, you see that? New color found by firing laser pulses. That's that same thing. Okay. Olo. Anyone up for risking lasers in their eyes just to see it? But you can't see it unless you have the other cones in your eyes blocked. So that is not really how it'll look. I did definitely think about that. Like, I'm going to assume that those are really weak lasers that wouldn't hurt your eyes. But still, you got to wonder if there's any long-term problems. This is the color. So you see that color at night after you turn off the light? Seriously, you see that color? Because what I see is more like this color. There's kind of a grayish with hints of green color. If my eyes are shut... Well, this is all tricky because then there is that weird light crap that shows up. So there's like this color, but then there's a little speckles around it. And then if I kind of watch for a while, then there could be all swirls of different colors. That one might be included, but it's not all like saturated like that. Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, why did they capitalize the new color? It's not necessary. So you can only see it if you go there and they block the perception of the long and short cones, and they just they zap them, I guess, to block their firing so that they don't contribute any information, and only the medium waves cones contribute. And that's how you can see it. So they got to shoot the little... They have to map all of your cones in that one part of your eye and then block all of the ones that are not medium wave. So they got to shoot little lasers into your eyes. Yeah, I was thinking that the neighbor over here, one of the workers, he always has these weird puffs right here. And I was like, man, are you getting sleep? Are you okay? Because he actually looks fairly healthy otherwise. You know, he's trim and he's not old or anything. And it's like, but there's that. And it's just, I always look at it and I go, what's wrong with your eyes? I think it's more because there's nothing else sticking out about him that little thing just sticks out. I mean, if he was really unhealthy looking, I just go, you know, bags under your eyes. But yeah, so you know, I used to get that where I saw the colors when I took certain substances, but it's mostly gone now. I've talked to other people that apparently it can go away. Like you just adapt. I've adapted to the experience and I don't hallucinate that much anymore. So not even colors. And you know, we all kind of miss them because they're quite pretty. There's a little bit, but it's mostly gone. I know something has been happening to my eyes since 2018. Yeah, so there's like the visual snow, and then there's extra colors, and then there's, I mean, all of it, I don't know. None of it's really hurting anything, so I try not to stress out over it. Like, I can still see just as good as normal. It's not blocking my ability to do things. So it's there, but I can just ignore it, basically. Okay, this one. You know, this is making me crazy because right after I learned about this, people kept just talking about it. Like, just randomly going, oh yeah, fever coat. Oh, I already know about fever. I didn't even bring up fever coat, and they were bringing up fever coat, and like I lived these decades, never heard of fever coat, and then like 5 people mentioned it in a couple weeks. So I'm like, all right, I got it. There's a thing called fever coat. Some of you might have heard about this because apparently a fair number of people in this timeline do know about fever coat. So the story is that if a mother cat, when pregnant, is stressed before giving birth, the kittens may be born with silver tinted fur. Like the melanin does not develop properly, and then they're like silvery. And then as they grow new fur, then the new fur will come out as their intended color. So, and of course they're going to look beautiful. Fever coat is very pretty. This is fever coat supposedly. So they're black underneath with this white silvery, and they look awesome. And they said it doesn't hurt anything. Look at that. That is like so effing off. So then these guys will turn like whatever their regular color is like later. So some of these apparently had fever coat. That one's crazy. Look at that. Look at that. Now I've seen some of them with that pattern, and then so there's an image that's going around of one that's sort of like that, but even crazier looking. And I've seen the image for years now, like a couple of years. But this time I saw it, and I was like, oh, it's fever coat. I'm like, what? And that's how I learned about this, because suddenly they said it's fever coat, and I was like, yeah, that's fever coat. But they never said that before, so. And then when you look into it, it says, oh, well, sometimes like an adult cat that gets a fever also could just like start growing out fever coat hair for a while and then return. So apparently cats can now just, if they get a fever, they can just change color for a while or something. And of course the color looks amazing. So, and then there was some kind of vague story, like, let me see what it even says. Because I saw some places where it kind of sounded like it's mostly cats. Like, okay, so it's not just cats. It's just mostly cats, known as stress coats. Temporary condition. Unexpected fur color in kittens. Duration of the fever coat to fade varies. Typically resolves around 4 months of age, but can take up to a year in some cases. Fever coat inducing illnesses, prolonged stress, medications. Kittens with fever coats have fur that appears lighter on the tips, frosted or silver gray. There were some places that were saying like adult cats could also get it if they get a fever. Like themselves, not just their kittens. Got a little flood void at the shelter. So a void is a nickname for a black cat. Let's see. He's changing color. Huh. Is that the old color or the new color? Oh, so they're asking if this is fever coat. So he was black and then he turned white? That's pretty bizarre. I'm interested in this because ours just, I don't know, they just keep changing color. It's crazy. Fever coat. Let's see. Oh, it's 2:06. Okay, I think I've covered enough stuff for today. Ending on a beautiful kitty cat. That's the way to end. Yeah, so it doesn't last now, but I bet you the way horses are all changing colors from one year to the next, and I bet you that it's gonna advance and maybe from now on it'll be that color and maybe it'll change back and maybe it won't. I bet you it's gonna develop. Some girls are born blonde and hair turns brown. Yes, but that's not as fun as if you were born brown and then turned blonde instead of blonde and then turned brown. I had really, really light hair when I was born. And it's sad because you know it's going to darken. Everybody tells you it's going to darken. And you can see it darken year by year. It's like, I want my hair back. Okay, well, that's it. I think I'm done. Thank you all for coming. I hope you have a great rest of the week. Think good thoughts, everybody. This is Eva signing off for Once Upon a Timeline.